From the Crush Studio in sunny Florida, this is the Disney Crush Podcast. And now your two tempests in a teacup, Dave and Tony Ann.
On this week's The Disney Crush Podcast, special co-host Tori Hunt and I talked to Glen and Rebecca about their chef's table experience at Victoria and Albert's. They finally crossed this one off their wish list. Episode 426 starts right now. Tori.
Hello.
I'm so excited that we get to do this.
Hey, me too. I'm a little nervous.
You're going to be
on
fine.
This side of the mic.
You're fine. I've had Andy as my co-host. If he could do it, you could do it. So joining us are Glen Kessler and Rebecca Rudin, who were at Disney the first weekend in December, around that time. They did a couple of things, but one of the big things they did was they finally got to go to Victorian Albert. And they did the Chef's Table, which is an exclusive event. Tori, you actually booked it. Unfortunately, you were supposed to be there and you couldn't be. But you had told me you had heard it was going to be really hard to do, and then you did it, and it wasn't.
Yeah. So Rebecca you had booked it or tried to book it, right?
Yeah. So I booked it 2 years ago for a trip we were on, but then I got Animal Kingdom Club Level from DVC, and it was after a week-long trip with a really large group. So we didn't think it was the best time to do Victorian Albert's. We thought hanging out at Club Level was probably a better ending to the trip. So then, we all started talking and wanted to do it again. So I think Glen initially booked at 60 days. You can book not the Chef's Table on MDE, but we really wanted the Chef's Table. So Tori stepped in.
I'm not even sure how this happened. It was just one of those, we had talked about it, said, let's do it like a year in advance.
Yes.
And it was going to be Joe's and my 30th wedding anniversary. And then Glen was going to be turning 50. And at the time we didn't know, but Rebecca ended up getting a promotion. So there were plenty of things to celebrate. So at the 60-day mark, I believe, Rebecca tried to get us, what did you get us? Just the dining room?
Yeah, we got the dining room on MD. You can do the dining room, and I think you can also do the Queen Victoria room on there, but you have to call to get the Chef's Table. So I had the phone number from last time I was trying to book. So I had been trying to call in the morning, but couldn't make it work. It was kind of a team effort. Hand it off to Tori.
Yeah, I made one phone call. They called me back within an hour and said, we have your date. And we booked it. So I don't know what the big deal is. Everybody says it's so hard. You just call the number. So
we were also flexible, though. I think we were there like 4 nights or something. So we kind of said, whatever night they'll give us, we're happy to take it.
Should we reset that there's only a limited number of tables? What would you say? 10 tables in the main dining room?
I think the main dining room has 10 or 12 tables. The Queen Victoria room, I think, has 4 or something.
I think it's 4. I think
it's very
so.
small as well.
But I do have to say it was really awkward. I don't know if I would sit there. We can discuss this later.
We'll get there later.
But
the Chef's Table, there is only one chef's table, and it can seat, I believe, up to 8, but they'll take whatever size your party is. And ours was originally 4 and then down to 2, and they still didn't seat others with us. It was our own space. And it is quite literally in the kitchen.
Right.
It's a special room that's built off of the back of the kitchen, but you are able to look in and see the chefs cooking, prepping, plating. You can have conversations with them. They encourage that, which was very cool. We might talk about that a little more later. And because you're not in the main room, which is dark and red and has a harpist and everybody wearing their suits, because you're in the back room, it's much brighter back there with the obviously necessary bright lights of the kitchen. Everyone's working. It's a much more casual experience, which was very, very much to our liking and why I think we were intending to book it. We don't we like fancy food and we like fancy experiences, but we don't like stuffiness and the Grand Floridian kind of vibe in general. It's not a Grand Floridian vibe in that chef's table. I would say it's that like on steroids in the main room.
You had to ask to get someone had to take you to the potty. You weren't allowed to get up by yourself. So every time I had to go to the bathroom, I had to say, excuse me, sir.
You need a chaperone.
Yeah, because you're in the kitchen. So they really you're in this room, four walls. It's open to the kitchen, but you can't step out of it without someone coming to get you.
Is that how it is in the dining room too? That they come and take your napkin and pull your chair out and do all that?
It's probably for safety in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, it's for safety. In the dining room, yes, they're going to like pull your chair out, refold your napkin, do all the stuff that a regular fine dining place will do, but you can go to the bathroom by yourself there.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, we should say that the meal is extremely long, which is why Rebecca needed 2 potty visits during. I think I just held it. I don't even remember.
Dang, how did you do that?
You went one time.
Did I go towards the end? Maybe I can't remember. Yeah. I did go one time towards the end. Mostly because I wanted the experience. You had said it's a funny experience to get walked through, so that's why I did. I actually.
So saying it was long. We're gonna. What time did you arrive? And then at the end of we'll say what time you were done. You got back.
So
5:30, I think, was our reservation because they seat the chef's table first out of the whole restaurant. They want you to be the first people to arrive. You could walk through the restaurant with them because there are some, I don't know what to call them. There was like a little gingerbread house because it was holiday time. Like there's little things in there and they want to walk you through. The whole staff is not working yet with other guests, so everyone can pay attention to you kind of as you're coming in.
And that's when the restaurant opens is 5:30, and they only do 1 seating per night. So that's it. Those 12 plus 4 plus 1 tables, that's it for the whole night. There's no second seat. There's no turnover. So you're not rushed, which is lovely. And you can just kind of enjoy it. They stagger the arrival time. So like they don't fill all 17 tables at once. That would be too much on the kitchen. So we, I don't know if this is because we were the chef's table and they always do that at 5:30, but we were the first ones in the restaurant.
He told us that's what they do.
They always do that. And that's nice. And then we were able to obviously watch them cooking the food, and we were already on our 4th or 5th course, and they were still making first courses. So they obviously had people coming in later, and I would assume leaving later. So we started at 5:30. We finished a little after 10. So 4.5 hour service.
The tastings in the other rooms are a little shorter. So we were probably there the longest out of everyone in the dining room, because as we were leaving, it wasn't a full dining room.
I'll say that, based on just watching, I saw right down Main Street and Paging Mr. Morrow, they did the dining room experience. And the only way I would want to do this is the chef's table.
Yeah.
I agree. Totally.
The dining room seemed weird, like Fur's Cafeteria weird. Like I'm old enough to remember back when they'd have a harpist in the dining room, or and it's too quiet to be around people you don't know. So I would for sure want the immersive experience of the chef's table, and it's not that much more expensive than being in the dining room.
I think I told Glenn the first time I walked out, because when you're in, like he said, and we'll talk as we're going through, but when you're at the chef's table, you're talking. Like we had a som / our server, and he was talking to us the whole time. The chefs are talking the whole time. It's very casual. And they would walk me out of the kitchen where, there's people talking all the time. It's very friendly, into the dining room to go to the restroom. And immediately when I exited that door, I felt like I have to like stand up taller. I shouldn't be talking. You're laughing with someone who's walking with you. We're joking and talking. And I went into the dining room and everyone is sitting there like so politely. There's like not a sound except for the harpist. everyone is dressed perfect. It was just like very uncomfortable to me.
Which might be why people try to get into that smaller room. There might be a slight cessation of those feelings in that smaller space. But really, the kitchen, if you are going to spend whatever you're going to spend on this meal, when you decide to go for 30% extra, 20%, 30% extra, you can get a totally more casual, and we felt better with the communication we got to have. I'm sure we wouldn't have been asking the questions that we asked and got knowledge and the feedback. And at the end of the service, when the chefs were all done and they were kind of cleaning up, they came over and they started just chatting with us, just discussing with us. What was your favorite? What'd you like? Oh, that was my idea. Oh, I worked on it. It was really cool.
Yeah. And you don't get to do that with the front of house staff because first of all, they don't really know as much and they don't have like any real skin in the game like the chefs do. And so they're going to feel a sense of ownership in the back and forth with you about your opinions and your thoughts.
Totally agree. And I don't know if they were being nice, but they were very receptive to our sitting up there. I would go and stand looking in as far as I could space and answering their questions. They were, one fellow was experimenting. He spent almost the whole day experimenting on new dishes. He wasn't even making something for today's service. And we got to ask him questions. What were his motivations for that? I don't think everyone does that. I think you should. If you're going to do this experience, I think you should stand up and engage. Don't be intimidated by the feel of that front room or the price or anything like that. These are guys who take a lot of pride in their craft, and you're going to hear all about that when we start going into some of these, not just dishes, but ingredients. Every ingredient has Tony Ann, do you remember when we went to Epilogue and they had a 20-minute dissertation about each drink?
Yes.
It's just like that here, but for every element of every dish. I tried to record, but they would go on for like legitimately 5 to 7 minutes introducing the dish on the table. It was wonderful. So ask them about those things and have a great experience and learn something. And I think that was as memorable for me in hindsight as the food. The food you forget a little bit, on the taste buds how it went, but those stories we'll hold on to forever.
That's right.
So let's get into it. It looks like, Rebecca, you got the wine pairing as well, it looks like. And Glenn, are those the 0 proof cocktails you got, or?
Great question. Okay. So they only offer 2 accompanying drink options. They have the wine pairing, and then they have the non-alcoholic pairing. But I do enjoy an alcoholic beverage. I was comfortable enough with our Som being knowledgeable enough. He had some great conversations with us early on before we started. And so I said, would it be something that the kitchen could pull off, that the bar could pull off, to take the non-alcoholics and then make them alcoholic with a little mixer here, a little mixer there? And he loved that idea. I'm sure he's done it before. It wasn't the first time.
He said he's done it once or twice.
Yeah, but it was very rare for him to do that.
Yeah.
And he got excited about it. He was a young man. What would you say? He's in his 40s probably.
Maybe younger.
Maybe late 30s. And he was young and energetic and excited about the service. And I think that just gave him a little extra project to play around with. And he kept checking on, how do you think this one is? What do you like about that? Are there any limits you have? And, tequila and mezcal are pretty much my nose, but everything else is on the table. And it was wonderful. So they were very similar to the non-alcoholics, but they will be different than that if you go.
All right. So let's start at the beginning.
Before we start, as we're just covering kind of the logistics and stuff, super fine dining means you have to dress fancy. So ladies will need to wear a dress or something tasteful. Men have to wear a button up. I didn't quite go full suit. I did have a jacket, but no tie. I would say in that main dining room, I saw a lot of ties. I saw a lot of very business looking suits. I was a little more casual with just kind of an open jacket and slacks and tried to look nice enough.
correct me if I'm wrong, that the dress code in the chef's table is a little bit more lax than it is out in the main dining room.
I honestly don't know. I would say yes, because you're not in the main dining room. But when you're on the website, I don't think there's a separate dress code shown for that.
I just remember reading a trip report once where back when everyone had to wear a suit jacket, in the chef's table, they didn't have to. So that was the only thing I had heard. But
so when I got my letter of, the reservation confirmation, it's pretty specific about the dress code. Semi-formal, formal attire that respects the restaurant's elegant, opulent aesthetic.
Nice.
I think just dress nice.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like specific. I wore a black dress that I wear, everywhere else. I wear it to work. Like it wasn't a gown, but just
I think
dress.
they just wanted to put a little effort into it, right?
But
yes,
I have seen pictures where people have worn gowns.
There were.
I mean, you can do the whole top hat and monocle and spats and stuff, I guess, if you want.
I don't think you can. I don't think hats are allowed.
Oh, well, they'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll take it off. You could take a picture in your hat.
Yeah. So it says, jacket, long sleeve collared shirt, dress slacks, dresses, dress pants, nice blouse.
So is this an amuse-bouche? Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we got here? So what is that the first course?
Yeah, I can start with this one. So this was these 3 bites were really about some of the chef's travels and his culture and history. So starting with the first one, looks like a donut, and it was inspired by his travels to upstate New York. So he wanted to make kind of an apple cider donut. But what you're not seeing, and we'll post pictures for those who are just listening to this, is that was filled with Wagyu beef. So taste of an apple cider donut kind of, but filled with beef, and it was delicious. The next bite was supposed to be a Waldorf salad. Do you remember where he got that one from?
From the apple orchards up in...
Oh, also still New York.
Yeah.
And then the last one was about his heritage. So it was kind of like there was tuna in it, right? And then I think it was an ají amarillo sauce from Peru.
Is that the one you're talking about, the third one?
Yeah.
They took fish and turned it into a liquid and then reconstituted it with some agar into pearls. And so it had a ceviche flavor to it, but it was not actual cuts of fish. It was the fish had been somehow transformed into a liquid or gelatinous form and then reorganized into pearls. And that had it smacked of the ceviche lime and the fish flavors. It was really wild.
So was there a lot of molecular gastronomy in this menu? Or?
I would say there was a lot of inventive and creative techniques. I don't know that I would label all of them kind of microgastronomy, like the transformation. I didn't see a lot of nitrogen being used. I didn't see a lot of, those kind of processes.
So was it like a tuna boba?
Was
it
kind of?
Was it gummy or was it poppy?
Poppy.
It was poppy.
Yeah, like if you've had a large like coho salmon roe or some kind of very large whitefish roe, where it just pops and it's very liquidy inside, but that skin that forms when you use the agar in that process.
But it was also kind of in a taco shell, so it was like not.
Was that corn?
Quinoa, I believe.
Quinoa. Oh, it was quinoa. Gotcha.
Yeah, they made the taco shell out of quinoa. It's very tiny. I mean, it's not even the length of your thumb. These were very small bites, definitely all meant to be a single bite. And so you just take that and pop it. And so many complex flavors, so many different levels. When you see the images of these, you'll see that there are 7 different toppings on top of each individual item. And they just, every care is given to each individual piece.
Is this the cocktail they give you with that?
This was a matcha and again apple kind of themed as they're playing up on those stories. So there's maybe a brandy. I can't exactly recall if it was an apple brandy at the bottom, and then a matcha, which is going to have that beautiful green foam. And they started to, I don't know how intentional all of this is because this was just quite experimental, but in the photo we're seeing the matcha is beginning to send legs or almost looks like roots down into the liqueur. And that was really, really cool just to watch it transform over time, and tasted amazing. Sweetness from the apple and then the matcha has that kind of coats the mouth, really lovely smoke, kind of dry, smoky feel. There were, what did they say, 3 total chefs they have, or 4 total chefs?
There's 3 chefs. There was a 4th chef, and she recently left. She was the head chef. Not sure where she went on to, but it sounded like good things. So there's 3 chefs, chefs de cuisine right now, and I don't know where seems like they're in a transition. Not sure where they'll wind up with the 3 of them.
But while we were there, Chef Brandon was the main guy on this day. The second guy was doing the experimental work. They were getting ready for New Year's. They were getting ready for change of season. A lot of the dishes that we're going to reference here will not be available for anyone the next time they would go, because they change their menus seasonally, if not sooner than that. We had a few dishes that we were the first people to have tried it. No one in the public had ever had it. Some were only a few days old or a few weeks old. And the third chef was not there.
That's bread. I recognize bread.
Yeah,
it's good bread, though.
I'm sure it is. That it's for our listeners. It looks like the bread at Topolino's, but a small one, with the points coming off of it.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. Yeah,
and that looks like butter in a quenelle.
Yeah.
All right.
I included those for you, Tonya.
Oh, thank you, because he knows I love bread and butter.
That cannoli shape, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
you do it with 2 spoons.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. Like, there's not a seam on there.
Cadbury eggs do it every time. I don't know why you think
he's excited about the butter, about the shaping of the butter.
Serious, take some skill.
Okay, and then I see some caviar.
So we should say here, unfortunately, we don't have a photo. This was tuna 2 ways, 2 types of tuna, 2 different parts, and then presented in 2 ways. And even though we were still early, we were not tipsy yet, but we dove in so fast to the first one, I didn't even get a photo of it. I think I have a half-eaten photo coming up next. But this was probably the lesser of the 2. This was the regular tuna as opposed to the one that we dove into, which was the fatty tuna, the otoro. And do you want to describe these, Rebecca?
This one, if I'm being honest, I don't remember as much because I was so focused on the otoro.
So, the otoro, well, I'll speak about this one. You can talk the otoro. So this one was very salty, crispy, almost had like a dumpling, crispy dumpling, like a rangoon kind of quality to the shell. And what can you say about that? I mean, it was the best tuna. Like if you like the ahi tuna nachos from Yak and Yeti, you would love this bite. And then the other one, I don't know if I sent that half-eaten photo to you, Tonya, but the other one was in a really cool pillow-looking shaped bowl, and you're only seeing the top of it in that photo. But
I mean, that's after I demolished it.
But the fatty tuna always is a little more flavorful.
Yeah.
I think the mouth feels a little better. It's just a little softer and dissolves more easily as opposed to the other one you're crunching.
The broth is a lychee, and I think this is the one, Glenn, correct me if I'm wrong, there was this like jelly-shaped disc on top of it, and they make a dashi, which if you're into food at all, dashis could take a good long time make. So it takes them, I think, 4 days to make the dashi, and then they make one small disc out of this dashi just to put on top of this one plate of
So did y'all
tuna.
have to share this one little bowl?
No,
Oh, okay.
I
Good
would have
grief.
revolted in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I asked Chef Brandon when he presented it, I was like, well, what is that item in there? Because I couldn't pick everything else I could kind of identify, but I was like, what is that disc in there? And then he goes into this story about making the dashi, the ramen broth. And I was like, do you actually serve ramen here? He's like, no, it's only the only purpose of us making a ramen broth. It takes them 3 days to make the broth, is that they use it to then turn into a jelly that they then cut these little circles. That is one topping on top of a tuna dish. It has nothing to do with ramen. And they said that the dashi will last about 7 days. They can get about a week's worth of use out of it. So they're not doing that on a rolling basis, but every week they have to spend 3 days making a soup that never sees the light of day, never touches a noodle. It's a wild. That was, I knew at that point, and we're on the second dish. This is really the first dish after the amuse-bouche. I knew we were in for a treat, both in terms of the flavors, but also in terms of the storytelling and the magnificent processes that go into these dishes.
So was it best in separate when you tasted the dashi and then the tuna and then the broth, the lychee broth, or all together? Which was your favorite?
It was really too small to pick apart and then also get the experience of having it together. So as you can see, we would kind of chop at it and cut it to pieces a little bit, but the other one was a one bite, right in the mouth and done. This one, we were able to kind of break it a little bit. I think I ate mine in maybe 2 bites. Rebecca, I think you broke it into many more.
I tried to do what you were saying, Tori, but really the broth you could get on its own. The rest was a little trickier, but all together is the answer here, I think.
What is that, Glenn? That's a cocktail that was served with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful presentation in a Japanese, almost looks like kind of a wabi-sabi, kind of a container where it's broken and they've healed it with the gold, but it was not. And the drink inside, kind of Asian as well. Very, very mild flavor, I would say. I gave a little to Rebecca and she was like, there's nothing there. It's just green water. So I don't even recall what the flavor was.
So it wasn't your favorite?
No, this one was very, very forgettable.
I don't remember it that much.
Was that the wine pairing?
Yeah. That was a Sancerre, if it helps.
Did you find the pairings were, I'm sure they were very well.
Yeah, and I actually talked to him about this because I'm sure I don't know if everyone, I really don't love the wine programs at Disney. They're all California based. They're all New World. They're all like very one note. When you go to the nicer restaurants, you can get something a little different. But I was talking to the Som about that because I said, obviously this is the nicest restaurant on property, so you have to go a little nicer. But I was asking him, like, how is he able to get all these really good, delicious wines? But he said he has to work pretty hard to pick wines that'll pair well, but that can also work within their program overall.
Right, because like you said, they change the dishes often. So
so they can't go too deep into something. It kind of has to be flexible. I think in the dining room, not everyone is doing the wine pairing. So he was also like, you need things that, that Disney customer is used to these California wines or like the type of wines that they're serving. So, he has to find a way to get what he thinks he really should get and pair, but that'll also work for the restaurant as a whole. Because they do share some of the stuff with like Citrico's or the other restaurants within the Grand Floridian.
Mm-hmm. And they obviously aren't sticking with just one region, right? I mean, because I saw it was your Grand Cru was Champagne, right? And
yeah, so that would have been France. I think this was France, but then we did go outside of that. Like there were some Italian ones. I do think there was actually one from Oregon, possibly, but we can keep going. I don't remember 100%,
Okay.
but like it was really varied and they were excellent pairings, I think.
Good.
Yeah, and their website does boast 500 wines from 35 regions. We didn't hear that from him, but they do have a pretty extensive collection if you wanted to not go with a pairing, but just enjoy something.
Okay, next course.
Yeah, this was one of our favorites because we saw it cooked right in front of us all night. It was like the first station that was, to my side at least. I don't know, but this langostino was roasted over top of a really intense fire. They said 1,000 degrees, made with wood that they import from Japan, and there's all kinds of stories to that process and how they work. And this poor fella that we just watched all night flip these tiny little skewers,
Like with like little chopsticks, so small.
But that was great. What does it say on the menu? What does it say the broth was for that?
The broth was made of maple, and then there was a squash puree
It says kombucha squash.
underneath,
Kombucha
which you
squash.
can't really see because the sauce is on top, but underneath there's a puree. They did let us take video, and Glenn tried to video one of them that Chef Brendan was talking to us about, but also they're describing like every leaf that's on top of the langoustine, every
I'm
element
dying.
that goes into the dish. And then as we're talking back to him, the videos end up being like, 10 minutes long or something to
Right.
describe one dish. So we tried that for a minute, but then
I'll tell you 2 stories on the next dish. How about that? Because I remember those pretty clearly, but they're amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Such process.
Is that your cocktail, Glenn?
This cocktail, and I think we're actually one ahead.
I think
Wait,
you're
is that
off.
it?
Yeah.
I think we missed a drink.
It was like a yellow.
yeah, that drink went with the tuna, now that I'm recalling.
Okay.
The drink we're looking at now went with the tuna, and that was a little more citrusy and a little more bright.
Mhm.
To pair with tuna, yeah.
The
and I looked
green
up on
one
the
went
menu.
with this.
Yeah, the
Okay.
langoustine got the funny tasteless
green
one. I looked
water.
it up. It was pandan, and pandan
Yeah.
doesn't have much flavor anyway to start with. It's kind of a mild matcha, I guess maybe you might call it. But that's where we're. And then the next drink was just a wine that he just said. He was like, I'm not going to give you a ton of unmixed cocktails, but he was like, I think this is going to pair well flavor wise with what's coming next, which was salmon.
They were all really good, but I have to like try and remember from the bottle which
had your
ones they
favorites.
were. Yeah.
That's hard.
And then just to say the non-alcoholic pairing, Glenn did add alcohol to them, but those are actually made by the kitchen. So it's not the bar staff or the som making those. It's the chefs that are using either similar ingredients or complementary ingredients to come up with a non-alcoholic pairing. So they were very inventive and different each course.
Yeah, you could tell there was a lot of care given to the drinks as well as the food, of course. The second closest thing, or maybe closer than this, was a. Do you want to talk about it? Because you had the best view, Rebecca, of the salmon itself.
So they had like all these dehydrators kind of throughout the kitchen. So the whole time I was just staring at these full salmon hanging in this dehydrator. But it tasted like the best lox that you've ever had. But a piece of salmon, not thinly sliced. And the skin was so crispy. I took one bite, but then saved it till the end because it was
Did
so
he tell
good.
you how he did it?
The skin?
Yeah.
Well, I think the skin maybe just more had to do with the
I think
fact
it was just like
this fish was living in this dehydrator for so long, and it was affecting, I would assume, the skin in a way that was making it extra crispy. Well, we did not get any insight into their cooking technique, Tori, how they got it so crispy.
Did they serve it straight
Yes.
from the dehydrator?
Yeah.
And then they seared it?
Yeah, I think it was either pan fried or seared. And then underneath is a mole verde, which I believe was made with pistachio. And that was delicious and something I've never had before.
Yeah, that sauce was so rich and complex with the nuts being in the mole. So you get a little tiny bit of heat, but mostly just, a kind of a meaty umami kind of flavor. And then this is the one I'll go and tell some of these stories. You can see 3 tiny little caviar eggs off to the left side, and there's more on the right and everything. But they were telling us that those caviar are individually held over top of the smoke, the 1,000-degree Japanese wood smoke, and that they're just trying to give it the faintest little flavor from that smoke. So they take each of those caviar, kind of hold it over there, and some of the seaweed that is dancing around there, that's been pickled, and they do this whole process where they pickle that and lightly spray it with, I can't even remember what they spray, but there's so much process.
Was this the one with the persimmon vinaigrette? We saw them like aging these persimmons and they make a vinaigrette out of it. But we saw them doing like the whole process, bringing out like persimmons that had been aging and making it. And I think that's what they sprayed on that.
So the salmon, it wasn't overwhelmed with smoke? Was it smoked in the dehydrator?
No, I think it was smoked out of. So I think the dehydrator was dehydrating it a little and then smoked and then seared, I assume. Mm-hmm. But no, I don't feel like there was an overwhelming smoky.
Yeah.
No.
They were not using like what you would think of as like an American barbecue smoke. It was like gentle.
Yeah.
I don't remember what type of wood was in that yakitori grill thing.
Yeah, that would have been the hero of the night, I think, if not for the pasta dish coming next.
And that was when they just gave you a glass of wine, Glenn? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it was a very sweet.
Yeah. It was a rosé.
Yeah.
It was, but was that the one that tasted like pepper?
Yes. Oh, that's right. I've totally
green
forgot
pepper
about that.
or red pepper, green pepper.
Yeah, it smelled like green pepper or red pepper, like that.
Like bell pepper.
Not spicy
Yeah,
pepper.
bell
like
pepper. Yeah.
It smelled just like a bell pepper. Like you would have, if you'd have blindfolded me and said, I'm holding something in front of your nose. What is it? Green pepper, red pepper. Absolutely. But then when you drank it, that kind of went away. You could taste it a little bit, but it was very, very unique. I never had anything like that.
So here's the pasta dish.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't look like much.
And we were
it
the
definitely
first
doesn't look like a
people to
pasta.
eat it.
Okay.
This one they had never served before.
Yeah,
so
that was
it
cool.
says it's gnocchi.
Yeah, when it came to the table, I was definitely terrified because it looks like a bowl of a white creamy sauce.
Creamy sauce. That
Right.
is-
Rebecca is not a fan of white creamy sauces.
But it wasn't that. It just looked like that.
Talk about what's the hivey looking thing? The thing that looks like a hive.
Yeah, the
It's
little
garnished
like
with
a
something
honey-
that was like a
like a
hive for our
honeycomb.
listeners.
So that was just a cracker, and I think it was made with squid ink. Or was it? No, black garlic?
black garlic.
Black
Yes.
garlic. Yeah. There was something else with squid ink. And then the foam was, I believe, the fontina that you mentioned, but into a foam. So it wasn't creamy. It was just like light and airy underneath.
But it's Parisian gnocchi, which is,
Yes.
in my opinion, fluffier and lighter
Mhm.
than
Yes.
potato.
Yes.
Like your typical Italian potato gnocchi.
I've had them before. Tori, tell me if you've had it. I've had them more in like a ball before, but these looked more like gnocchi, but had the texture that you're talking about. So it's still the like light, airy.
I've prepared them a couple of ways. One is actually you just pipe it out of like a churro. Like
Yeah.
it comes out
Yep.
long like a churro, but you cut it with scissors as it's going into the water.
Uh-huh.
And then the way I do it here at home, I just roll it out into one long big tube and wrap it in saran wrap and just keep it in the freezer. And then when we're ready to, I personally prefer it like baked in the oven because it gets like crisp. And you slice it in discs like a Pillsbury cookie dough. And slice the little tube into discs and set it out on parchment on a roasting pan. If you haven't had Parisian gnocchi, listeners, find it.
Yes.
And it'll change your life.
So good. So this looks more like you roll it into a log, maybe and freeze, but they didn't cut it into discs. It was longer, I think, to look like a more like a potato gnocchi kind, like a little bit longer.
Like a dumpling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like a tteokbokki shape.
Nice. Way to pull that one out of your little pocket there, Glen.
I don't know why I didn't think of that because that's my
I know. That's your favorite item ever, I think.
I love tteokbokki.
What's that?
That was my drink. And gosh, was this cherry? I can't remember anymore.
I don't remember yours, but I do remember mine for this one, actually.
Was it that one or the next one?
No, next one. This one.
Oh,
No name.
Great story.
Yeah, so he told us a whole story about this because we'll, again, post pictures, but it's literally a white label that says no name. So typically you would think at a fine dining place, maybe you wouldn't see a wine like this. But this was made by a family in Italy, which is one of the most well-known wine families. And if you know anything about wine, to get a DOCG rating, there are a lot of rules and regulations. So when this family sent samples of this new wine, not sure what happened, but the samples did not all taste the same, which they have to be considered DOCG. So they did not get the rating, which means you cannot put the label on the bottle and the whole thing. But they knew it was a great wine. So they decided to call it no name without the ratings, without everything, to kind of go against, you know, that old school Italian rules and regulations and say, this is still an incredible wine and we're still going to sell it. And we don't care that we don't have your label.
You have to meet your arbitrary standards.
Yeah, this is rebel wine if you want to.
So it was delicious. He said their wines are usually a couple $100, you know, at a store. This one, I think he said was $80 or $90. So still an expensive wine for the average drinker, but like a fraction of the price. And they just kept going with it instead of trying again or trying something different. They have other wines that are classified.
It's a great story.
Yes, so we really liked this one.
And Glenn, it looks like you had a citrus drink of some kind. My order it might be wrong.
Yeah, the order.
I think it was that red one, but I don't remember it very well.
Yeah, it was yeah. We missed one. There was a citrus-based one. Thank you, Tori, in the highball glass. Mabuyu is what it says. I have no idea what that was. Yeah, that's citrusy melon flavors a little bit. Yeah, that was not terribly memorable either. A lot of the drinks are, they don't have cool stories. They're just like, yeah, sip that. And the food really is the star of the show.
So then you got more bread.
Yeah, a couple of
you have to get
rolls.
more bread. What is a meal without many bread courses?
Right. That's right.
Okay. What's that?
Oh,
looks like Rebecca's nightmare. That's a dessert course later.
Is that later?
Yeah, that's not next. I was like, I know that's not now because I was very upset about that.
There's two meat courses coming up.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So that's the first.
Is that duck?
No, that's
the venison.
Oh, venison. Okay.
This was Glen's preferred meat course, right? And
I like them both, but yeah, probably. No, the Wagyu is going to be better than this, but no, the venison was very good. What we loved about this is when we first sat down, we saw them producing what is way in the back of this photo, and we, they looked like someone had taken maybe a radish, a white radish, a very large, daikon or something like that, and cut a fat medallion out of it. And they were, again, cooking that yakitori on the over the smoke. And we're like, oh, we're guessing what we're looking at. And then later we saw someone with a radish, very large. And what they were doing this time is they were slicing it paper thin into long sheets and then rolling that up. Those sheets then got rolled up into a cylinder. And then they were slicing that rolled up into, if you've made Pillsbury cookies or something like that, you got that log, and then they're slicing it into medallions. So we thought we were looking at a solid thing that they were cooking. What it actually was this incredibly thinly rolled, paper thin version of the exact same thing. But that then allowed all those little openings to capture sauce and flavor inside of the spiral. And it was delicious. I mean, radish wouldn't have much flavor, but this was just oozing, delicious, meaty, smoky barbecue type flavor, and soft, tender, easy to eat. Very similar if you had like potatoes that have been cut, with those million layers and then stacked up. It kind of had that same texture to it, and all that flavor kind of in the middle.
Now, Dave's made me venison. This doesn't look like any venison Dave's made me.
I mean, it's perfectly cooked, medium rare, maybe rare.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was really good. I did actually, after seeing how much care they put into, I think it was a parsnip, but like I preferred that over the meat. I'm not a huge meat eater. The meat was delicious, but it was just so special what they did with the vegetable.
And that's the disc thing behind it?
Yeah, so it looked like just a round. It looked like Glen is saying, like if you took just chopped a section of it off. But he did take a video of this one with the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it was so good. And then I got a red wine with it.
Yeah, now we switched to red finally. That's your first red.
No, the last one was red. The gnocchi one was red.
The gnocchi one was it? Oh,
yeah.
Really? Okay.
And then I don't know which one is Glen's drink because we're really lost there.
We're really lost in Glen's drink.
A green drink that tastes
that's this one.
Grassy. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So wheatgrass.
I don't know what kind of grass.
I don't know what it was.
Spinach. Actually, I recall him saying now. Spinach.
It's a spinach drink. Yummy.
Yeah, he took
I
the
have to say,
out of the spinach.
there's got to be some, I think Zero Proof doesn't get the recognition and respect it deserves because, as you were
100%.
saying, it requires so much innovation and intention with ingredients that, just pouring from a bottle, which I am not downplaying the process of winemaking, but, in the establishment for them to have to come up with the pairings you got to tap into a different place in your brain, in your culinary brain for that.
And you just jogged my memory, Tori, that they're trying to tell stories. So if we go back to the venison piece, the little berry that's on top actually plays into the drink that I got, which is just jogged my memory, Tori. Lingonberry, because like a candied lingonberry on top of the venison, and then my red drink that I didn't recall a couple of minutes ago, that was lingonberry infused alcohol. And the reason for that is because the head chef, who had just departed but had been beloved by the staff, she was from Sweden and had made lingonberry a major part of her service, and so this was their homage to her. They're like saying goodbye.
Their little tribute. That's sweet.
Yeah, I would say if anyone's going there, it's worth it. I love wine, so I went that way, but I would 100% say someone at your table should try the
either the non-alcoholic
pairing.
Yeah.
That's what you have me for.
Because and each glass, like we didn't talk about it, the first one was called Kyoto, and at the bottom of the glass is replica of Mount Fuji. Like
Wow.
each thing is so
Thoughtful.
full.
Yeah, and autobiographical, biographical. They're trying to tell stories through some of these. And we really led that with the amuse-bouche and his travels through New York and upstate New York. But there's lots of little stories all through. And the next item, Rebecca got a gold star for identifying some French roots from his.
Tori, what would you say if that plate popped down?
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was looking at when you sent it before, and I don't know. I'm intrigued. And it looks like it came out of a Play-Doh extruder.
I love it.
It does.
It looks like pasta, maybe, right? But what was the reference, Rebecca? Of course, to a
So,
sweet.
as soon as he put that down, I said, "Oh, that looks like a Mont Blanc," which is a chestnut dessert in France. So it's a very well-known chestnut pastry that you can get at any kind of patisserie in France. And he said, "That is what that is."
Oh,
Well, yes and no.
But, yeah.
It was not sweet. That was a savory version on
But
it.
inside of the Mont Blanc, the stuff that looks like pasta is the chestnut that they would put on the Mont Blanc. But inside was like a beef bourguignon.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, we're looking at it looks like Wagyu, right? Is that what?
Yes. Yeah.
There's 2 slices of beef and then what looks like a pasta, a long noodle like a spaghetti, and Rebecca is saying that it's actually not.
No, it's a play on a French pastry. You can look it up. It's called Mont Blanc. But it's exactly what they did. They took the chestnut, they made, I'm assuming, some type of puree that they could
Paste.
extrude.
Yeah.
A
Mhm.
paste. There is a crust at the bottom, so like a pastry cup to go with that. But inside is beef bourguignon. So,
Wow.
and I think there's truffle on top.
Truffles on
Yeah.
top.
Looks
Yeah.
like
so
some
how
sort of
many
truffle.
bites was that? Like 2 bites?
Oh no, I made that into like maybe 4 to 6 bites.
I think reasonable people 2, 1 or 2.
You couldn't put that one bite in your mouth. That was pretty big. That pastry?
Yeah, I think I did too. I cut it in half just because I wanted to see the inside. I wanted to see the beef inside, of course. And then the Wagyu, which we haven't given any love to, of course, is just melt in your mouth, incredibly delicious, perfectly cooked, red all the way through, just with the little
Beautiful.
bit of searing on the outside. Unbelievable, and a great
It's
gravy.
gorgeous.
Yum.
That's the last drink I have for you, Glenn.
I think that was the last
I think
drink.
that
for
is
me.
the last drink.
Because we're on to the dessert course. So at this point, we're probably, 3 hours in, and we're stuffed already.
Right.
We're stuffed. This is a lot of food. There's a lot of courses, and we've eaten everything. We're not leaving anything at all. They're like, okay, about halfway done. What? It's like, yeah, we've got so many dessert courses coming your way. And neither Rebecca nor I are big dessert eaters. We don't really like sweet profiles too much. Give me a plate of nachos for dessert.
Right.
I'm happier than a chocolate cake. So we're like, oh God, what are we in for now? So they switched beverage wise to something sweeter. It's got here actual little boba size ice cube balls inside that are melting and creamy yogurty kind of flavor, has a little nutty flavor to it. But then we're on to the first of a couple of questionable dessert choices. This is where the meal got a little weird.
No, this was the only questionable ones. The other ones are delicious, but we're not that into sweets. This one is what nightmares are made of.
No,
That's not it. You had
My nightmares.
Is that it?
Not that. Nope.
No,
that
it's not
one was
that one.
delicious.
No.
That was delicious.
It was a very
that one.
This is a very, very, very loose interpretation of a cheesecake.
Oh wow. So for our listeners, it looked like a white blob, which Rebecca is known for not liking.
And it was the stinkiest cheese that you think of the smelliest, stinkiest feet that you've ever been around in your life. And that's what that blob of cheese was made of.
So it's glossy, goopy. Like imagine
It looks like a
taking
marshmallow kind of.
no,
Like a melted.
it's too shiny for a marshmallow. It
Marshmallow
looks like
fluff.
kind of silly putty-ish. But then they rolled it on a countertop that was covered in crumbs.
They call it a basque, but isn't basque like burnt? This isn't burnt.
Yeah.
No, it's the Basque,
No, but the petite basque is the cheese. It's not basque cheesecake.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so there's two ways that petite basque are being presented here. One is this very questionable gelatinous form, and then the other is what looks like maybe a flour or Tori's crumbs that you're rolling it through. I'm sure they had a little cheese wheel. Petite basque is always circular, and they typically will shave it down with that little spinny knife that cuts it, and so it almost looks like a little flour on top. And they dusted it with I can't remember what the red, maybe some
raspberry.
Yeah, it says raspberry.
I would have thought a little heat, but anyway, underneath all of that is something a little more substantive, which is going to earn the cheesecake texture that they're describing. But yeah, this was tough. Did you eat any of this? Because I know I ate the majority.
I ate the flour on top for sure, because I do like cheese, even if it's smelly. I just don't like when they turned it into whatever form this happens to be. And then
She literally says on the call to us, Joe, they're making me eat wet cheese.
I did text you that.
No, you said it in a FaceTime.
I said it.
Joe.
Well, because I don't know if you all know, but out of these relationships, Tori and Glen are partners, and me and Joe are partners in personality. So
This is correct.
Yeah, this reminds me.
I did take one bite though of the whole.
You did have a bite. Good.
Yeah, I'm a brave girl. I can do hard things, like eat cheesecake.
It was so hard. And this reminded me when we went to Kumite, and there was this same consistency. There's always one in these nice meals. There's always one. They're just like, all right, let's check and see where your thresholds are.
They're out to get me. This one was delicious.
Okay, this is roasted sweet potato, brown butter, cookie, and cranberry.
Can I just ask real quick, was the cheese one sweet at all?
Yeah, it had a little bit of sweetness, but no, you would not call it sweet. It would be like, I'm sure there was some sugar or some sweetener that was added to that foam as they were transforming this cheese, but no, it was not sweet at all.
Okay.
Number two on a scale of 10 of sweetness.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like in France where you have cheese for dessert. Like it's not sweet,
exactly.
you're just having cheese. That was
That's right.
their like.
Yeah,
I don't know why they couldn't have just given me a block
Give you a
of
cheese plate.
That was I would have eaten that like a champ. But
That's what Monsieur Paul is for, Rebecca. This is different. That's $500 teas right there.
So this next dessert course is ostensibly ice cream, and so good with a crumble that very similar to like a crumb cake kind of texture underneath it. This was delicious. We both cleaned our plate.
This was so good. The ice cream is the sweet potato.
All right, let me see.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful thing, and it was also delicious but really rich. So hard to finish after eating for 4 hours.
What we're looking at now is a bowl that appears to have a flying saucer on top of it. Looks like a Nilla wafer, like a lifesaver around. And then on first look, and I don't think I sent you the after. This would be the before.
Yeah, there was two pictures of this one.
You're looking at. In fact, let me revise that. It looks like a porthole in a ship.
It looks like a porthole. Yes.
Yeah. So you've got a porthole in a ship, which is like a cracker consistency, and there's gold flecks and caramel sauce on top of that, little droplets of those. And in the middle is what looks like a disc of chocolate, and it is. But then they come by with very, very small little ramekin of hot caramel, and they pour that over top of the chocolate. And the chocolate dissolves and reveals that they're
Is it a sexy man saying caramel, caramel,
Chocolate.
They can really take a
No.
lesson from Monsieur Paul's. on that.
That guy should maybe come work over here. His Monsieur Paul was not up to that man's standards.
So I don't know that it really transformed. There was no big revelation underneath it. It was just
There was like a little cake, though.
It melted, it wilted. There was a cake underneath. You've now got lots of caramel, and at that point, just break it into pieces and make your own caramelly s'mores type bite.
And gold leafing. You got gold leaves there. Like,
we ate a good amount of gold.
Okay, and then the last course is these little bonbons, right?
Yeah, little guys.
Yeah, and then three little pedophores for each of us. They were good. I think we finished the right one and the left one. The right one had maybe lingonberry again, or
no, it was like mulled wine.
Was it mulled wine? I don't even remember.
It wasn't mulled wine, but it was meant to take. It's kind of holiday-esque, if you can see, just because of the timing. So the one on the left was almond, and it was kind of chewy, like I can't think of what it's called right now. All I can think of is halva, but that's not it. Is it like a Turkish delight? Are those chewy?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Like a nougat of some sort?
Yes, kind of. Nougat. It wasn't crunchy, though.
Is it like that weird candy that was at my grandmother's house from Ferrara when I was a kid? Tyrone. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's called almond Tyrone.
Okay, yeah, that's my grandmother used to have those in her drawer in Brooklyn.
Yes, I'm like, I know this very well, but I can't put my finger on it right now. And the middle is a peppermint mocha.
Mm.
And the one on the right says spiced parsnip. It to me was like mulled wine, was I think what they were trying to get there.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, we are so stuffed. I don't think we finished.
I've even got a picture
little
of how stuffed you are.
So it's been 4.5 hours. We've had a journey. We've gotten to know people, ask questions, learn things. I'm pretty sure at this point my shoes are off and my feet are kicked up underneath the table, because why not? We're very casual.
Yeah.
At this point, and it was such a good experience. But we're not done yet. I don't think I sent you pictures. It was because we had announced that this was a celebration of Rebecca's 40th and my 50th, that they made us little white chocolate with our names and happy birthday and all that stuff on them. They just presented those to us. We didn't really eat too much of that, but just a little chocolate.
And it was nice at the end of the meal, like, because they were also starting to clean up, because like we said, there's no one else really coming into the restaurant at that point, but they all started coming in as they had cleaned their station to say, like, what was your favorite thing? What did you like? Oh, I worked on this thing. What did you think? Especially like the gnocchi. We were the first people ever outside of that kitchen to eat that dish. So they all wanted to come in. You know, how did you feel about it? What would you change?
That was the best item that we had. So we were thrilled to be honest and share with them that was a hit. And
so if the chef that made that cheesecake thing came and said, what'd you think of that?
Yeah, so there is a different chef. We saw a new chef, the pastry chef came over, and he was not our best friend that night, unfortunately.
But he was also like not... because the pastry is all the way at the end of your meal, you're not talking to him the whole time. So he just came to kind of check in at the end and say hi. But I would have told him it was not my favorite. I did tell them because they offered a caviar experience, which we obviously didn't do because I have a friend in caviar. So we never do that. And then they offered, I think it was on the gnocchi actually. An upgraded truffle. So there was truffle in it already. And they offered this truffle experience. I'm looking now. It was $120 per person for 4 grams of additional truffles.
No.
And we said no because we were like, that's silly. But then when they came over at the end of the day, I actually said to them that I think that if you would have done that, it might have been too much truffle because it had like the perfect truffle flavor. Like what they
Yeah.
did was, to me, actually perfect. And I maybe wouldn't have loved it as much if we would have gone for that kind of upsell. So we did tell them that.
You know, we didn't talk about before you got there. I know they reach out to you and ask you about preferences and things like that.
Joe does not do seafood,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to procure a menu for him. And so you can specify.
And I think that's for all, not just the chef's table, for in the dining rooms too.
Because last time I don't remember if I reserved the chef's table or not, but we got to the point where they reached out to me to ask about allergies and things. So I think it's the full dining room. You could kind of give them any restrictions that you have or any things that you don't like. For me, even though I don't like some things, I always don't tell the chef because I want to taste what they have prepared and what they want me to have. Because who knows, maybe I'm going to like this white creamy sauce this time, right? Maybe they wouldn't have given me that gnocchi. But if you have a strong dislike or something or an actual allergy, then they are very accommodating.
Yeah, you're obviously getting a luxe experience there. The care that you're getting from the wait staff, from the kitchen, from, you know, the chefs that are able to tailor meals if you need for you. That's what you expect at a place that's going to have this kind of ticket price. And you know, we had some ups, we had some downs, mostly ups. I mean, this was, you know, we've eaten at Monsieur Paul, Takumite, Victorian Alberts, and you know, a lot of really nice places outside of Disney. And I would say that even though this was a very expensive meal, I would say not only was it worth it now that we've come through, but because they change the menu so frequently, because there's so much passion and creativity and inventiveness, we're hoping to do it again at some point. We're not going every month. We did ask, and you know, I said, "Oh, it's a shame that you guys change the menu so often because how many times can people come?" And he's like, "We have regulars. We have people who come here, not quite weekly, but pretty darn
But
regular,
at least monthly.
monthly, and they are experiencing those different tastes and those different flavors." So I don't know how much they're gearing towards those guys, why they help to rotate.
They do change the menu what seems like daily, but they rotate kind of as they go. So they said if there's a dish that's a favorite with a lot of people, they'll leave it on the menu a little bit longer so that they can workshop something that maybe isn't working for everyone or something that they want to try. So if you ate there today and you go back a month from now, we're saying it'll be different, but there's chances that maybe 2 courses will be the same and 5 courses will be different, because it's actually smart how they're doing it, because to workshop a whole menu at once is a ton of work. What they're doing is still a ton of work, but a little more manageable, that if you have something that's working, they hold on to it for a minute, not past its season ever, because they are seasonal, but they might keep it for the season. And then, yeah, they just earned their first Michelin star, which is really interesting. I know, you know, there's positives and negatives, how people feel about the Michelin rating system. But as you sit in that dining room, it's as good as some 3 Michelin star restaurants that I've been to. So I don't know if it was that they're in a theme park or, you know, what it was. But I kind of asked him about that, and they described, like, you know, what they're focusing on, how they're working on it. They want to keep their star, obviously, but they want to work towards getting 2 stars. And they also have a diamond rating. They're rated in multiple different things, and they said it's really tricky to nail all of them because some want you to be super inventive with what you're doing, and some want you to just like nail every single dish every single day. So they're trying to find this balance of, you know, what can people like and it be perfect every day, but also where can we innovate or try something new that maybe maybe it doesn't land every time, but gives them that edge in that way. So it was interesting to talk to the Somm and everyone in the kitchen about their goals for the next year and what they want to do and how they want to expand and work together, especially since their head chef exited recently. They have 3 chefs de cuisine working together in a partnership, it seems like. Yeah, it's really interesting.
That's fascinating.
So you're saying you would go back,
Oh,
and you're saying
absolutely.
it compares to some of the finest experiences you had elsewhere because you're both well traveled and have eaten at some really nice places. That's
I
good.
mean, there's a 3-star place in New York that I think is much worse than this meal that I would not go back to.
Okay.
Wow.
And just to quickly talk about price, because I don't know if we actually mentioned.
We haven't. It's a
the
sensitive
number.
subject, so I didn't know if you wanted to go there.
I'm glad
No,
we're
I'm
doing it
happy
at
to
the end after we've waxed rhapsodic about how great everything was. And now
I think
you
it's
can make the
you
call.
have to be realistic with what you're doing. This is not an everyday thing. I was actually talking to Glen and Trey this weekend. Like, to me, food brings me joy. So to spend this amount of money on a meal is not a normal thing for a person to do, but it is something that is very important to me. So I think the cheapest menu walking in the door is $2.95, if I'm correct, and that's for the dining room, which we said was actually very stuffy and a little uncomfortable for me. Then the Queen Victoria room is smaller, so the price is a little higher. I don't remember exactly what that is, but I feel like probably somewhere around $350. And when you
But
get
it's
into
the same menu as the dining room, isn't it?
I do believe that you could, in that room and in any room, they said you can add more courses if you want to. So the main dining room is the smallest menu. The Queen Victoria, I think, is like a little bit more, but not as big as the chef's table. But they said if you wanted to do any of those menus in the other spaces, you could. And then the chef's table is $425 per person at the moment. A 0 proof pairing is $145. And the wine pairing is $210. The way Glen did the 0 proof pairing brought it up to $210.
Right.
So just adding those alcohols, they just made it equal to the wine.
And you said there were other upgrades that you could do on certain courses.
So there was an upgrade for truffles with the gnocchi course that would have been an extra $120 per person. And then the caviar would have been an additional course. It wasn't an upgrade.
Okay.
So it was just a caviar experience. And that one was based on the caviar you chose. But I think the cheapest one was like $300 or something. And there was one that was like $700. And you're literally getting like an ounce of, a small tin of caviar. They said they're going to bring you all of the bellinis, toppings.
Right.
They would make it like a whole caviar service. And they were very special caviars if it's something you're really interested in. But it didn't, for us, feel necessary. You are getting caviar in your meal. You're getting truffles in your meal without paying additional, I guess, up to what you're looking for. But
so it's not an every trip thing unless you're one of those people that goes every month that apparently it's probably John Stamos. It's probably who it is.
They're living in Golden Oaks in our retirement home. We just need to get a little more money before we can.
John Stamos, if you're listening and you want to share the chef's table with us next time, you come on over. That's all good. We got stories to tell.
All right. Tori, do you have any other questions?
No, this has been fascinating.
It really has been. Well, I want to thank our guests, Glen, Rebecca, and my special co-host, Tori Hunt.
We'll have to get those photos up because this was
we'll share the photos on the group, definitely, because it'll really help you understand what we're talking about here. I just want to thank you guys and thank our listeners. We will talk soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So sorry Thurston didn't join us for this one.
I think that's it. All right.
Turkey and truth has spoken.
Put a check on that. Can you do that, Dave? Can you put a check on that one?